Everyone knows Italy as sunny, colorful, and smelling like a fancy dessert. But today, we're not looking at the bright side. Instead, I want to approach Italy from its midnight edge and celebrate darker Italian things that do not get the attention they deserve. For once, let's start with cinema, and namely one of the best black comedies ever filmed anywhere, Divorce Italian Style. This film came out in 1961, but I only watched it maybe 6 years ago. But every time I mention this one in discussions about comedies, it seems like nobody has seen it. Without spoiling too much, the plot is insane but very simple. An aristocrat from a small Sicilian town is deadly tired of his wife and wants to marry someone else. But divorce was not legal in Italy at that time. So he decides to murder his wife. And he spends most of the movie trying to arrange everything in a way that would give him the lightest possible punishment for his crime. And this whole process of preparation has hundreds of moving parts. It is so well scripted, so grotesque, and incredibly funny. But it's not this kind of a weird black comedy with a dry humor. It is full of social commentary. Actually, one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is a gathering of the local branch of the Socialist Party, which was supposed to represent the most progressive social ideas. Not a single woman in the room, and they're discussing women's emancipation in this place 65 years ago. What is also interesting is that another iconic Italian movie from that time, La Dolce Vita, makes a cameo appearance in Divorce Italian Style. Today, La Dolce Vita is a classic, but when it came out, it was a scandal. And it's not a comedy. Actually, quite the opposite. It's a very serious movie asking the biggest existential question: why live at all? However, there is just one vivacious and fun scene in this movie: the dance of the main male character with Sylvia, an American actress visiting Italy. And it proved to be the most iconic and unforgettable. And here I have a fashion editorial from 1995, inspired by Sylvia from La Dolce Vita. Here in the magazine, Sylvia is portrayed by Claudia Schiffer, and wasn't she a perfect choice? It is only a 4-picture editorial, but it is staged like a real movie, with all the paparazzi chasing her. And I love the lighting and the color palette in it. It has this very cinematic overexposure. You can tell this one was still shot on real film because it has depth without being harsh around the edges of objects, which often happens with digital imagery. This is, by the way, a French magazine, but this whole issue is dedicated to Italy, its culture, and glamour. By the way, speaking of dark glamour at home, in Divorce Italian Style, the main male character wears a Jacquard house robe around his villa. And it wasn't treated as something you had to hide when you had visitors. He even has coffee with a guest while wearing it. So I felt like this Jacquard set that I made last summer matches the mood perfectly. And how do I know that his robe is Jacquard? Well, this is a fabric you can recognize even in an old black and white movie by the way it interacts with light. And speaking of Jacquard, who else loves Jacquard as much as Baron Chifolu and myself? Antonio Marras does. One of Italy's darkest, most mysterious and creative fashion designers. Let me tell you that if I had a chance to visit just one fashion design atelier in Italy, that would be Antonio Marras, which, by the way, is far away from Milan. They are based on the island of Sardinia, and local artisans have probably been involved throughout the history of the brand. Somehow, Antonio Marras' DNA is at the same time very original but unmistakably Italian, especially in tailored pieces and in the sumptuous use of materials, almost in a Baroque way sometimes. But whatever fabric or silhouette they use, they give it a dark, almost haunted edge. It's chic but never glossy. It's like entering a dusty room full of precious objects. To fully appreciate them, you should get closer and not be afraid of dust and spiders. Even when Marras uses lighter colors, butterflies, school uniforms, and polka dots, they're not cute. They're bizarre, like a damaged vintage doll. And even if your chaotic childhood is over and it's your wedding day, don't get too excited. In Marras, this wedding may still end in a very divorced Italian style. Anyway, I'm sure that everyone who's into dressmaking would be thrilled to witness the work of his atelier in person, where all the magic of hand applique, hand draping, and fabric collaging is happening. You may or may not be into his house's vibe, but it's hard to deny that everything they do feels very authentic. I can see the creative process behind every look they show. There's nothing uniform and cookie cutter about how they work. Now, what is the first dark Italian perfume that comes to my mind? Here it is, Versace Crystal Noir. Have you smelled it? No, I mean, I'm sure you have seen this bottle. It's hard to forget, but have you ever taken your time to really admire the DNA of the fragrance itself? Launched in 2004, I think Crystal Noir is still one of the most rich and charismatic perfumes around. 22 years later, I don't know another perfume that balances all of this so beautifully. Spices, coconut, white florals, woody notes, and musk. When it was launched, I was a first year university student. I didn't have my own money yet, so I took my pocket money from my parents and purchased this 5 ml miniature. Then I had 50 ml, then I had 90 ml, and now I have 90 and a backup bottle. Because this is not just love, this is love for life. And in my opinion, this is the best Versace perfume that has not been discontinued. Unlike, sadly, this iconic fragrance from the house, it was launched in 1989 and it is called VE. It has been discontinued for a while, but you can still find it vintage. And this is another phenomenal darkie from Versace. It is very earthy, woody, and mossy, but it also has this gentle warmth from fruit and rose. It is so dramatic, you can tell this one comes from a time when nobody was afraid to be extravagant, to be too much. That's exactly the kind of fragrance that many people today would call offensive. Awesome. I love offensive. And this one, by the way, was in perfect sync with what Gianni Versace was doing in fashion at that time. Believe it or not, he was not only about clash and colorful prints. Okay, we started today with Italian comedy, and as we are wrapping up, here's Italian comedy from my real life. I once was moving from one apartment to the other, and obviously the most affordable way of doing that is to rent a truck and move everything by yourself. So my friend who moved to Canada from Italy kindly agreed to help me with that because she had experience of driving bigger vehicles. So when we came to the rental place, she showed our route to the employee and said, uh, is there a minimum speed limit anywhere? Because I cannot drive a truck at 80 kilometers per hour. Well, he barely even looked and said no. She was like, are you sure? Because in Italy you would get a ticket for it. He said, well, not in this place, especially if you need to go slower for safety. Are you sure? Because I don't want to get a ticket. Poor guy could not wait to hand us the keys and never meet us again. Anyway, we ended up driving 30 km per hour. Um, because well the truck was bigger than we expected and just overall weird for us, so the whole journey took us forever, and when we were almost there my friend said, yeah, I don't even know what is more unbelievable, the fact that I'm driving 30 km per hour or that nobody is honking behind us. Also, don't tell my family in Italy. Okay, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this special episode. I do have similar videos in the playlist called Let's Hang Out Together. Thanks for your time and attention, and I'll see you soon.